Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning, Acharya.
Oh,
Brahmam
Shangaracharyamam
Shankaracharya
Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam.
Om
Om
Sahana
Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu
Veeryam
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai
Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvidhavahai.
Om
Om
Shanti
Shanti Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti. Hare Om.
Okay, so in the last session, we had completed a few preliminary remarks, and the first Namaskara that Shankaracharya did, first Mangala Shloka, we had completed the discussion. So today we will look at the second Mangala Shloka. I have already copy pasted all the three shlokas in the group. I hope you have it with you. So we are looking at the second Mangala Shloka. We will chant. Please unmute yourself. Yairime Gurubhih Purvam
Yairime Gurubhih Purvam
Padavakya Pramanataha
Padavakyam
Padavakya
Pramanataha
Pramanataha
Vyakyatha Sarva Vedantaha
Vyakhyata
Vyakhyatas
Sarva Vedantaha
Sarvavedantaha
Nityam Pranatosmyaham.
Nityam
Nityam Pranatosmyaham.
Pranatosmyaham.
So as you can see, this is a Namaskara to the Guru Parampara. And we also do that when we start our class. And the Namaskara to the Parampara is very important. What does it indicate? That the teaching is not a specific teacher's teaching. It is the teaching of the entire Parampara. So Shankaracharya is, while doing the Namaskara, he is acknowledging that it is not my teaching. What does he say? Ime sarve Vedantaha Vyakhyaataha Gurubihi. Ime sarve Vedantaha. All these texts, all these Upanishads, Gurubihi Vyakhyataha have already been commented upon by earlier acharyas, earlier gurus before me. Right? It's a different matter that if you ask what are the commentaries which Shankaracharya is referring to, we will be stuck because we don't have access to any commentaries earlier than Shankaracharya's commentaries, excepting for one, which you already done. What is that? Gaudapada's Karika. That is the only commentary earlier to Shankaracharya which we have. But earlier than that, and any other commentary, they are not available. Okay. Anyway. So, but Shankaracharya's times, obviously they were available. So he says, these are not my works. These are all commented upon by my earlier acharyas. And I am just repeating. And when did they comment? Purva Pada Vakya Pramanataha. That very Purvam, they have commented earlier, all in the past, right? Purva, all in the past. And how is the commentary structured? Pada Vakya Pramanataha. So these commentaries are analyzed based on Pada. So Pada means Pada Shastram, which we call Vyakaranam or grammar. Okay. So Pada Shastram is Vyakaranam, grammar. So all commentaries have a grammatical explanation. And Vakya. So next word Vakya. Vakya Shastra. So all commentaries have got an analysis of the not only of the words, the analysis of individual words is Pada Shastra, which is grammar. Then when you put individual words together, it becomes a sentence. So not only the words have to be analyzed, the sentences also have to be analyzed. So he says Vakya Shastram also. So Vakya Shastram generally consists is called Mimamsa, analysis of the sentences of the Veda or Shruti. I just mute all of you all because somebody has unmuted themselves. Okay, fine. So, Vakya Shastram is Mimamsa analysis. It is analysis based on the Vedic analysis of any Vedic work is called Mimamsa. And what do? You follow the Shadlingani, the six indicators. We have already done it before. I am not repeating. Shadlingani rules we follow to arrive at the essence, the Tatparya Nirnaya, the essence of the text, what it really says, what is its major message. That is called the analysis of Vedic sentences to arrive at the Tatparyam. It's called Tatparya Nirnaya. We use the method of Mimamsa using Shadlingani, etc. Right. So, Padashastram, word analysis, Vakya Shastram, sentences analysis. What is the purpose? To arrive at the Tatparyam, to arrive at the central message of the text. And here he says Pramanataha. So, here the word Pramanataha has to be taken as Pramana Shastram. In this case, you have to take it as Tarka Shastram, Nyaya Shastram, logical analysis. And therefore, in any commentary, these are the three ways that the commentary should be presented. Padashastram, the grammatical analysis. Vakya Shastram, the sentence analysis following the Shadlingani rules. And the consolidation or showing that they are conforming to logic using Nyaya Shastra or Tarka Shastra. Right? Remember that all of Shankara's work will be using these three, but they are based on the work of the previous acharyas. And therefore, Shankara himself does not take any credit, but he gives them namaskara in acknowledgement of the fact that it is their work which is being restated. So he says, Tanityam pranato asmyam. So if you want to break up that, aham, where is aham? In the last, asmyam. So that has to be recognized aham asmi. So aham tan nityam pranataha asmi. Aham, I, nityam pranataha, I regularly do namaskara tan to them. So aham tan nityam pranataha asmi. I regularly do namaskara to them. Right? So in this context, remember there is a small little verse which every Vedantic student should always remember. Bhavat Advaitam Sada Kuryat. So this is the attitude you should have towards the Parampara and your Guru. Bhavat Advaitam Sada Kuryat. Kriyat Dvaitam na kutrachit. Advaitam Trishu Lokeshu na Advaitam Punastha. What does it mean? Bhavat Advaitam Sada Kuryat. Your attitude, the understanding should be that everything is one. Kriyat Advaitam na kutarchit. But you can never bring that understanding into implementation in action. Why? It's a very important idea. Kriyat Advaitam na kutarchit. You can never bring Advaitam into implementation in actions. Why does he say so?
Because we are in Vyavaharika, where
Vyavaharika is always
multiple.
Yeah, but a very simple explanation is in any action, there is who? There is a karta, there is a karaka, there is a kriya, all are advaitam, all are advaitam only. So in no action can there be advaitam. That's why he says bhavad advaitam sadaka. Mentally understand that everything is one, right? But advaitam trishu lokeshu, you can have this advaitic attitude towards the entire world. Three worlds, trishu lokeshu. All the three worlds, upper world, lower world, and this world. You can have this Advaitic attitude. You can say, I am the same. I am the same. Everything is in me. But Guruna Saha na Advaitam. Never have the Advaitic attitude towards your Guru. Don't go and tell him, Guruji, you and I are the same. So for a change, why don't you do Namaskara to me? So that you should not say. It's very beautiful little work. This is what is the essence of his Namaskara. That even though he's such a great Acharya, he does namaskara regularly to the entire Guru Parampara. Right? This is the intention of the second Mangala Sloka. And now in the third Mangala Sloka, he presents the reason for writing this commentary. So we'll chant. Unmute yourselves. तैत्रियकसारस्य
तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य
तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य
मयाचार्यप्रसादतः
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 विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनाम्
विस्पष्टार्थरुचिणाम्
विस्पष्टार्थरुचिणाम्
विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनाम् हि
विस्पष्टार्थरुचिणाम्
विस्पष्टार्थरुचिणाम्
हि
हि
व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते
व्याख्येयं
व्याख्येयं
सम्प्रणीयते
सम्प्रणीयते.
So this is the intention. What does he say? Taitriyaka sarasya yam vakyah maya sampraniyate. So I am, prani means offering. I am offering this commentary on the Taitriya. So Saraha means the Upanishad here, right? Because why Upanishad is Veda Saraha. So Taitriya Saraha is the Upanishad Taitriyam. Vispashtartha Ruchina, for those Ruchi, for those who have a desire or interested in a Vispashta Artha, in a very clear idea of the teaching. Vispashta Artha of the teaching of the what the Taittiriya Upanishad is saying. And this will not be possible without Maya Acharya Prasadataha, without the blessings of my gurus. So indicates the humility that every teacher, in fact, Shankara himself has this humility. So every other teacher should definitely have that humility. Never take anything as your own, creation. The moment you say that, you are insulting all the teachers whose works you have imbibed, whose ideas you have imbibed. Okay. With this, the three Mangala slokas are over. Now we will look at the
थोड़ा
what.
एसी का टेम्प
Please don't, uh, you know, unmute yourself as long as the commentary is on because it disturbs the recording also. Okay, having done these three Mangala slokas, now we will go to what is known as the Sambandha Bhashyam. So, in all the Bhashyams that Shankara has given, there is an opening summary. It's like the news. You have the headline, opening headlines, then the expansion of all the headlines, and then you have the closing headlines. Similarly, so in this is the basic idea of when you tell somebody there are anything when you're teaching something anything you should remember. First, you tell them what you are going to tell them. Right? That's the opening summary. Then you tell them. So that is the expansion. And then you tell them what you have told them. That is the closing summary. That is the normal way any Bhashyam is. And that opening summary has a particular name. It's called Upodhata Bhashyam. Upodhata Bhashyam. Has also another name, Sambandha Bhashyam. Right? So this opening summary which we are looking at can be called either Sambandha Bhashyam or Upodhata Bhashyam. So what is being established here? Shankara establishes that the Karma Kanda, which is Veda Purva, and the Jnana Kanda, which is Veda Anta, are not one scripture, are not one Shastra, but they are two different Shastrams. Why is this important? Why is it important to understand that Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda are completely two different Shastras? What is the method of establishing? How do you establish that any shastram is a shastram? You have heard about Anubandha Chatushtayam?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the Anubandha Chatushtayam is what must be applied to determine whether some shastram is a shastram or not. So Shankaracharya here says that there is a difference in the Anubandha Chatushtayam for these two branches. Veda Purva or Karma Kanda has a particular set of Anubandha, and the Jnana Kanda or the Vedanta has a different set of Anubandha. And since the Anubandha Chatushtayam is different, therefore we have to conclude that the Shastrams are different Shastrams. Right? So you have Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojanam, and Sambandha. Right? These things are the four Anubandhas. Okay. So how is it? Karma Kanda is the means to come to Jnana Kanda. And therefore, every Vedantic student should understand that you cannot just bypass Karma Kanda. It is a very definite role it has. It has a positive role. It leads you to Chitta Shuddhi and therefore brings you to Jnana Kanda. On the other hand, there is a limitation. What is that limitation of Karma Kanda?
It cannot give you moksha.
It cannot give you moksha. At the same time, without going through Karma Kanda, you cannot come to Jnana Kanda. Therefore, without Karma Kanda, you cannot get moksha. That is the positive side. Negative side is that Karma Kanda itself, by itself, cannot give you moksha. So Shankaracharya says that in the Karma Kanda, what do you study? Nitya Karma you study. This is also called Vihita Karma, which in Bhagavad Gita we call Pancha Mahayagya. Okay. Now, just one clarification here. What does Nitya Karma mean? Eternal Karma. Does it mean daily Karma? You have to use your head to think. What does Nitya Karma mean?
Prescribed by Shastra but to be performed regularly.
Then what does Nitya mean? So you regularly
Those,
brush your teeth also, right? Is that Nitya Karma?
along with that, what Shastra prescribes.
No. Are you saying Nitya Karma, brushing teeth is Nitya Karma along with what Shastra prescribes? Anybody?
Nitya karma is that which I have to do daily, what the Shastra has expects of me to do daily.
So that's a misunderstanding. Nitya means mandatory over here. Okay.
Acharya, it's scriptural mandated karma.
Karma.
Literally.
Scriptural mandated karma. And remember
Okay.
that the mandate need not be for daily.
Okay.
So you can have karma on occasions. You can have karma every week. You can karma every month. So nitya means mandatory. It's very important to get the idea clear. And why do we say that only Shruti mandated karma is nitya karma? Because nitya karma is meant to generate punya.
But Acharya, so then Nainitik, there are two terms, na, Nitya
Yeah.
and Nainitik. So we say that what we do regularly is Nitya and what we do occasionally is called Nainitik.
Occasionally is naimittika.
Huh.
Occasionally is when no occasion comes. But you
Yeah.
can have regularity not on a daily basis. You can have regularity on a weekly basis, monthly basis. You know,
Okay.
is it not? There are karmas which you saw in Mundaka Upanishad, which you do at specific times of the year. So those are not occasional. Occasional karmas are when the occasion demands. For example, when somebody gets married, there's a certain amount of karma, right? When there is a birthday. So that kind of stuff. That is Naimittika karma. Naimittika means nimittam. generated by nimitta, generated by the event. Okay. So that understanding is very necessary. And why is it we say that mandated karma is karma only mandated by Shruti? Because Nitya karma is meant for what? Pata durita shayartham. Right? Duritam means papam. Upatam means accumulation. Right? So upata duritam means accumulated papam. Kshaya artham. What does it mean?
Last moment of your life is
Shaya artham means for Shaya means to negate, to destroy. Right? So upata durita kshayartham means for negating the papam that has been accumulated during a life or previous life. Right? So nitya karma is that karma which negates the papam which you have accumulated. In other words, prarabdha papam which has fructified. Okay. You cannot negate sanchita papam. So that again, the understanding is necessary. Sanjita Papam is in the box, in your warehouse. You cannot use that or negate that until it actually manifests by way of Prarabdha Papam. So everybody has sufficient Punyam and Papam in his Prarabdha. And this Nitya Karma is meant for negating the Papam which has fructified. Upata, Durita. Upata means accumulated, but don't take it as accumulation in the warehouse. Take it as accumulated papam which has now manifested in the rupa, in the form of prarabdha papam. Right. So that is the reason for nitya karma. And why is it that we have to take it as only mandated by Shruti? Because Shruti says that this nitya karma generates punya. Correct? You can have regular karmas also. You can have brushing your teeth, having a bath. How do you know whether those actions generate punyam? Does brushing your teeth generate punyam? It's a very important question. What is the answer to that? Anybody? Anybody? Does brushing teeth generate punyam?
No, it cleans the dirt.
It is
No.
obligatory, so there is no question of either punya or pap.
Anybody else has an answer?
Will the intention of doing brushing the teeth decide whether it generates? If I do it just mechanically, just for the routine, then
It's
there is no question of papam or punyam.
it's a Laukika karma.
not punyam. It is not.
Shastra doesn't comment on it.
The correct answer is you don't know. How do you know whether some karma accumulate generates punyam or not?
From Shastra.
Because Shastram doesn't talk about a brushing teeth. Okay. So we assume that we leave it out of our discussions because we don't know whether it generates punyam or not. It makes your teeth cleaner and avoids a trip to the dentist. That's about all. Okay. What is papam? Whatever obstructs your Vedantic study is considered papam. That's a revised definition. Normally we say papam is that which gives you sorrow. But in this particular context, remember that whatever obstructs her Vedantic study is considered papam. So even if it is, what are very pleasant things for you in this Vyavaharika. If you have a very loving family and you're that loving family is taking away the time that is necessary for you to come to Vedantic study, that is Papa. If you have a lot of money, if that money is obstructing your coming to Vedantic study, that is Papa. I should compare this with the definition of papam in Dharma Shastra. This is the definition of papam in Vedantic Shastra. What is that? Anything which obstructs your spiritual growth, like coming to Vedantic study. That is papam. In Dharma Shastra, anything which gives you painful experiences is papam. Right? Okay. Now, remember that karma born of your desires, wanting to do something. Shastra does not, wanting, let us say, something pleasant, right? If you take it as not obstructing a Vedantic spiritual growth, that kind of karma, remember, Shastra does not say don't do it. Right? Shastra never says do not try to fulfill your desires. So, Kamya karma is not Nitya karma. It is optional karma. It is not prohibited karma, but it is optional karma. On the other hand, Nitya karma is mandatory. And this Nitya karma, how it is going to be handled, right? So Shankaracharya says, now he will present in the next sentence how this cause of karma, what is the cause of karma, how that cause of karma is going to be eliminated. And for that purpose, what is the only way of eliminating the cause of karma? And in fact, before you come to that question, you should say, what is the cause of karma? What is the cause of any karma?
Desire.
Desire, right? Karma hetu is kama. Cause of karma is kama. Why? Because the desire pushes you to action, pravritti, and that action generates punyam and papam. And that is one reason why there is another name for karma. It's called manmataha. Manmataha is that which is constantly churning the mind. Why? Because desire constantly churns your mind and then pushes you to karma. Karma. Therefore, kamaha is called manmataha. Shankara adds here that remember that the person who can be established in his own real self. So he says, Swathmani avasthanam, being established in your own real nature, that is possible only in the absence of desires. Why? Because in the absence of desires, there is no more push by the kama, by the desires, to goad you into action. And therefore, he says, one can become, the word is aptakamaha, fulfilled. One can become aptakamaha only when the final desire is fulfilled. Right? You can have thousands of desires, millions of desires, but there is one overriding desire also which everybody has. What is that? To become Atma, to become Brahman. Remember that any desire comes out of apurnatva. Correct? This we have seen before. Since I think that I am apurnaha, that I am incomplete, therefore I want to be complete. And because I want to be complete, I have that desire is there. I want to be complete. And that wanting to be complete desire, it is fulfilled through karma, right? Either by acquiring things which I don't have or by rejecting things which I don't want. So this is the very genesis of karma. You do not have the knowledge that you are Brahman. So you think you are Apurnam. Apurnata gives rise to Kamaha. Kamaha gives rise to Karmaha. Karmaha prevents you from coming to your own nature. Therefore, this is the final desire or the basic root desire. Instead of saying final, it is a root desire from which all desires spring. What's the root desire? I should become Purnaha. I should become Purnaha means I should get, I should become Atma or Brahman, which you don't know at that stage. Therefore, Shankara says that you can become Aptakamaha, completely fulfilled, only by but by fulfilling that one single desire, the desire to become Atma. Atma is none other than Brahman, right? And therefore, he quotes from the second chapter, Brahmavid Apnoti Paramam, second chapter of this particular Upanishad. Brahmavid Apnoti Paramam means the one who knows Brahman, he becomes Brahman. Brahmavid, the knowledge of Brahman, Paramam Apnoti. In that knowledge itself, you become Brahman. Okay. And therefore, what is necessary? You have to negate the idea. You have to dismiss the idea that I am Apurnaha. That idea is avidya. Therefore, by negating that wrong knowledge that I am Apurnaha, what happens? Swatmanya avasthanam parapraptihi. One will abide in your own self. And he gives a few definitions from here and there. There is another Shruti Vakyam in this Upanishad itself, in the second chapter. Abhayam pratishtham vindate. This person, he abides, he becomes fearless. And there's another definition again in the second chapter. Etam anandamayam atmanam upasankramati. By withdrawing from anatma, right? Which is, what is the final anatma from where you withdraw?
No.
He's talking about neti neti. So which is the final anatma? Neti neti is what? Withdrawal from the five koshas. Right? So the final kosha is Anandamaya kosha. And therefore you withdraw from the Anandamaya kosha and then you become what is left? You know what Neti Neti is, right? You first start with Annamaya, then you say this Neti Neti, Na Iti. I am not the Annamaya kosha. Then you come to Pranamaya, then Vijnanamaya, and so on. Finally, you come to Anandamaya kosha and you say Na Iti. I am not the Anandamaya kosha also. That also I am not. What is left?
Atma.
Only Brahman.
Atma is left, right? So then by withdrawing from the five koshas, then only can you abide in your real nature, which is Brahman. And withdrawing means basically giving up the identification, giving up the abhimanam. And therefore, when you give up the abhimanam with your Anandamaya kosha, using the method of neti neti, that is the way to abide in Atma, right? Now, remember these are all uh, ideas which you don't get anywhere in the text, in any other text. Okay, only in the Bhashya you get. And that's why I'm focusing on this. So, what is it that he has said? He has said that you can identify with the with Brahman by giving up the identification of all the koshas. And last kosha is Anandamaya kosha. You have to withdraw from there also. Now, a Purva Pakshi comes. He says, why do you want to do all this? In Gujarati we say mathakut, breaking your head. Why do you want to do all this breaking your head? There are simpler methods. So this particular method is called Aikya Bhavika Vada. We have talked about this earlier in Bhagavad Gita also, but anyway, I'm repeating it's a very important Purva of those times. So what is the idea? He says you will get rebirth only if you have karma, right? So why not use some creative accounting to make that karma balance zero? And if when you die, you have karma zero balance, there is nothing to give you a rebirth. And therefore that is moksha. Simple method. Why do you want to go and do all these Vedantic methods of withdrawing from various koshas and what? Very difficult. Okay. What is this method that he gives? Remember, he is called a Aikya Bhavika Vadi. Aikya Bhavika means in one lifetime. Okay, so he says in this lifetime itself you can get moksha. You don't need to do anything more. And follow my method. And he outlines his method. He says, first, don't do any kama karma. What is the result of not doing kama karma?
Not generating new papam.
Kama karma does not generate papa. Why do you say
No
kama karma generates papa?
punya.
Kama karma is permitted by Shastra, generates punyam. Okay. So do not do kama karma and therefore no punyam will be generated. Do not do nisheda karma, prohibited karma, and therefore no papam will be generated. Okay, so in this lifetime, you first thing is you avoid kama karma, you avoid nisheda karma. Therefore, no papam and punyam will be generated. Right? That's the first step. The second step is what? Exhaust all your prarabdha karma, punyam and papam by experiencing them. And that will happen anyway because when the body dies only when prarabdha karma, punyam and papam both are exhausted. Right? And then he says, do nitya naimita karma. Now, here is where understanding is necessary. This particular Aikya Bhavikavadi, they have the theory that nitya naimita karma has to be done because it is mandated. But they say that the performance of nitya naimitika karma does not generate karma phala. Okay, so this is what they say. And why do you do nitya naimitika karma? So that you don't, like, because it's a Shruti mandate. Do nitya naimitika karma. First theory is that you must do, but it will not generate papa. Papa or punya, both. It won't generate. Okay. Now, what happens if Nityanamiti karma is not done? Because Shruti mandate,
Pratyabhaya papam.
Pratyavaya papam comes. And therefore he says, this is the answer to the question. So he says that do Nityanamiti karma, it will not generate any kind of karma phala. Then you stand up and ask, why should I then do? Why should I do an action? All the pain and effort going into the action when there is no param at all, neither punyam nor papam. Then he says, because it is Shruti mandated. And if you don't do it, then pratyavaya papam will accrue. So you have to do nitya naimita karma to avoid pratyavaya papam coming. Okay. So just review the three things again. Number one is what? You do not do kamya karma and nishadha karma. Therefore, no papam, no punyam. Number two, exhaust all prarabdha karma. Therefore, zero balance karma at the time of death. Number three, do nitya naimita karma. So there is no pratyavaya papam generated. What is the net effect? At the time of the death of the body, karma balance is zero. Very neat solution. How effortlessly he will get moksha. Who only will do these things? No jnanam, no karma, no coming to lectures, nothing.
The Sanchit.
Sanchita is there.
It's forgotten. Okay, right. Then another Purvapakshi comes. So you say, Athava. What Athava? This Purvapakshi number two says, you know what? I can do karma and still get moksha. How? Because moksha is nothing but eternal ananda. What is moksha? Abiding in ananda all the time. Now, where does one get ananda? So he says, ananda you get in Swargaloka, right? And Veda itself says, Swargaloka is nityam. Veda itself says that the citizens or the residents of Swargaloka are amara, immortal. Immortal means Nityam, and Swargaloka is the place where you get only Ananda. Therefore, you do good karma, you good Swargaloka, and you get infinite Ananda. What is the definition of infinite Ananda? Ananda, which is never goes away. And therefore, I go to Swargaloka by doing karma, and I get Ananda, which is Nityam, because Swargaloka is Nityam. Therefore, by the very definition, Nitya Ananda is moksha itself, right? How do you go to Swargaloka? By doing Vaidika karma. Because there are many karmas, which you saw in Kathopanishad also. You can go to Swargaloka by doing those karmas. So this is the second Purvapakshi. So he says this Supreme Ananda is there in Swargaloka, and obviously that is what is meant by moksha. All of you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. So one guy says he won't do three things and get moksha, but this is the best way. You will do everything that you want, but do Shastra mandated karma so that you go to heaven. Once you go to Sarga, basically it is moksha only. This is the second idea. So Shankara now refutes. Right? He says no, that is not true because you guys have forgotten that which one of you already said that karma is of many types. Right? So many karmas have fructified, many have not. You can only address those which are fructified. So if you look at in Shankara Bhashya, you will not see the word prarabdha. Okay, if that's a later composed word, you will see arabdha phalam. Arabdha literally means which has started to act, fructify. Arabdha, commencement. Arabdha phalam means fruits started to fructify, which we call prarabdha. Right? And he doesn't use the word sanchita also. He uses the words anarabdha phalam, that which has not come to fruition. And therefore, in any Shankara Bhashya, Arabdha Phalam means Prarabdha Phalam. Anarabdha Phalam means Sanchita Phalam. Just for your information, in case you get the urge to read any Shankara Bhashya in original. So he says that these thousands of karmas have been generated, where in all sort of Purojanmas. And these karmas, they are not of one type. They are Viruddha Phalani, opposite kinds of phala. Which means what? One is punyam, one is papam. Since there are so many karmas, among those karmas which are not fructified also, among those karmas are there which are not fructified also. Which means you have prarabdha karma which has fructified for this lifetime, but you have sanchita karma which are not fructified. How will you address them? Right? Because how can you address a karma by only experiencing it? By experiencing the karma phala is the only way to exhaust the karma. How do you experience? By going through the pain and pleasure. What therefore can you experience? That which is responsible for the current birth, which is prarabdha karma. Therefore, in this prarabdha karma born life, in this life, you can experience prarabdha karma and exhaust it. But you cannot exhaust sanchita karma because it is not available to you. And therefore, whenever the jiva dies, even if he succeeds in exhausting the prarabdha karma completely, agami karma also he does, that also is, let us say, exhausts. We say agami karma carries forward also. Some part of agami is exhausted in this life, some part carries forward also. Let us say the gentleman manages to exhaust all the agami also. Even then, when his body dies, there will be sanchita karma remaining. And therefore, it is not possible to exhaust sanchita karma in one life, which means that sanchita karma in its form as sanchita karma cannot be exhausted. Only that part of sanchita karma which converts to prarabdha karma, only that can be exhausted. And Shankara quotes from Chandogya Upanishad. And I will not, quote you those things, but there are two verses for those interested. One is 5:10:7, and one is 2, no, 5:10:7 from Chandogya Upanishad, right? That is, it says that there will always be a balance of karma left. Karma sheshaha, the balance of karma, right? So the word used in Chandogya is karma shesha sadbhavaha. Because there is always the existence of balanced karma, and this is proved, he says, not only by the one I have quoted, by hundreds of Shruti and Smriti statements. And he says, think about a person, again he quotes from Chandogya, think about a person who has gone to Swarga and is enjoying pleasures. What happens when the punyam is exhausted? We have seen in Bhagavad Gita.
Shile Punye Madhyaloke.
Shine punne martyaloka pashat. So even there is always Shruti as well as Smriti statement which says that karma shesha is there. Balanced karma is there. So when you go to Swarga, for example, you have a Deva Shariram, right? You have the body of a Deva. Now, when that particular prarabdha karma, prarabdha punyam is exhausted, you need not be born as a Deva again, as a god again, right? Your next body depends upon the prarabdha which is getting activated. You can be born in a human body or even in a lower body, indicating that even if you have the punyam to take you to Swarga itself, you are still left with what? Unexhausted karma, such the karma, right? So he quotes something which is called Apasthamba Dharma Sutra. In that he says that Smriti says, it is Smriti, right? It's not Shruti. It is Dharma Sutra, so it is Smriti. He says, Smriti says that as that after enjoying all the pleasures in the higher loka, tata sheshena, after enjoying all the pleasures, what will happen? You will come back and take bodies according to your karma. So different in this one, by giving the Shruti argument and the Bhagavad Gita argument and the Smriti argument, Shankara says your argument that you can exhaust all the karma in this particular lifetime is not valid. You cannot say that your Aikavadikavada will give you moksha. With that, he demolishes that argument. Okay. Now, remember, these are all very fine arguments. Okay. I'm not giving you the Sanskrit because it doesn't serve a purpose for us. But those of you who can read the Bhashyam, it makes a very, very interesting reading. Now, another Purvapakshi comes. He says, fine, I accept your argument that there will be balanced karma and sanchita. But those balanced karmas can be neutralized, he says. And that is why Shruti prescribes Nitya Naimitika karma. Right? So he says that the three ideas which we said, out of them, two I will retain that you don't do Nishiddha karma and you don't do Kame karma. But when I said that Nityanamita karma is only for avoiding Pratyavaya papam, now I am saying, I'm revising the statement. I am saying no. Nitya Naimita karma will utilize all Sanchita papa and punya. And therefore, I still say do these three things and you get moksha. So he has changed this argument. Now he says that Nitya Naimita karma is prescribed by Shruti for only one purpose, to neutralize your Sanchita karma. So what do? You don't do punyam and papam because you are not doing kama karma and you are not doing nishiddha karma. You exhaust all the punyam and papam of the prarabdha karma. And by doing nitya naimita karma, You exhaust all Sanchita Papam also. Therefore, neat. When I die, balance is zero. You can't say that any balance is there at all. Okay, Shankara says fine. But that view is also not tenable. Right? Because he says, and he quotes a very famous quote, Akarne Pratyavaya Shavanat. Because Shruti says that akarne means nitya naimittika karma, akarne, not doing nitya naimittika karma. It will bring pratyavaya papam. And therefore, how can you say, when Shruti says that the purpose of doing nitya naimittika karma is to avoid pratyavaya papam, how can you say that the purpose of nitya naimittika karma is for neutralizing sanchita? Because the purpose stated by Shruti is that you are avoiding pratyavaya papa. So that nitya naimitya karma has been exhausted in avoiding pratyavaya papam. It is not available to you for neutralizing sanchita. Are you getting the argument? I
जी
hope. So not doing nitya karma, nitya naimitya karma is the cause for pratyavaya papa. Okay. And nitya karma is meant to avoid that. So in Shastric language, Nitya Karma is a parihara for Pratyavaya Papa. And this, he says, you yourself have accepted. You, O Purupakshi, you are the one who started with that by saying that Nitya Naimitya Karma is meant as a parihara. Right? If it is a parihara for Pratyavaya Papa, you have already used. It's no longer available for you to neutralize Sanchita. And Shankara starts with a hypothetical agreement. So hypothetical agreements are called abhyupetyavada. The argument starts with a hypothesis, a supposition. So he says, okay, let us let us start with the supposition. Remember, this is only a argumental supposition. Okay, it's not, we are not accepting this stand, but it's for the purpose of argument that we are saying this. So he says, supposing that nitya naimitya karma is used for neutralizing Sanchita. There is a big problem, he says. Shankara says the problem does not get resolved. Right? What is the effect? What is produced by Nitya Naimitya Karma? They are karmas mandated by Shastra. So they have to produce punyam. Right? And therefore, the performance of Nitya Naimitya Karma, which produces punyam, can negate what? Sanchita Papa. But Sanchitam has got punyam also. What about Sanchita Punyam? Punyam cannot negate Punyam. Nitya Naimitya karma produced Punyam definitely cannot neutralize Sanchita Punyam. Even if I accept that it neutralizes Sanchita Papa. So the Punyam still continues. And therefore, even if I accept an argument, the Nitya karma is used for exhausting Sanchita karma, it will exhaust only the Papam, not the Punyam. Because Punyam and Papam are of opposite nature. Right? Therefore, exhaustion of all such the karmas is not possible. Only exhaustion of papam sanchita is possible in your argument. Remember that we don't accept this. But he says we accept that. We may argue. We don't accept. You may argue that nitya karma can exhaust sanchita papam, but you cannot argue that nitya karma will exhaust sanchita punya. Are we on track so far?
जी
Okay, I'll stop here because we don't have sufficient time to cover the rest. Second point. So, any questions? Remember, these arguments are all very, very fine arguments. They're all meant for mananam. Okay, all the Akkarabhasham arguments, they're meant to create doubts in her mind and then address those doubts. And Shankara himself creates a doubt by bringing in the Aike Bhavika Vada. And now he's resolving that doubt by his arguments.
Oh, Acharya, can you
Yeah.
please repeat that? What is Pratyabhapam? We were discussed long back. Still, I have some doubt now based on today's discussion. Because what I understand by Pratyabhapam, you gave one example that we don't clean our house and then
Yeah.
you.
All that will come. All that will come in due course. Don't worry. All those arguments will come in due course.
Oh,
Okay. So with this, we will stop the class for today. Thank you for your patience. Om Purnamada Purnamada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I will suggest that you all make these into notes and reread them because the Bhashyam is pretty exhaustive. We might take one class or two more to complete the Bhashyam. But you must have all the previous discussions in your mind to be able to understand. Thank you. Om Om.
Thank you, Raviji.